What's up, guys? Welcome to my video. Today I'm going to be doing something different. Besides magnet fishing and metal detecting, I also scrap metal. As you can see by the big giant pile that's inside my storage unit. The only difference is usually I do this right on site. If I come across a heater unit like this, or the washing machine, which is right here, I would just dismantle it, break it down, separate all the metals from it, and then load it in my car. So, but I figure I need to break these down anyway, so it's, you know, you couldn't, what do you call it? Couldn't ask for a better day. It's raining outside. I was metal detecting. I had to call off because of the rain. And I was going to magnet fish and I had to call that off. So, yeah, like I said, right now I'm going through, what do you call it, restructuring type phase right now. Because of the tariffs, because if you see my videos during the summer of magnet fishing, I mentioned that during the spring I was going to get a new magnet. But since China owns 90% of the precious metals, or rare earth precious metals, a magnet might cost a little bit more. So I figured I'd buy some time and do something different, which I'm going to do today. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start tearing this apart and go from there. Okay. What I like to do is I like to start with the wires first to get all that out of the way. Most people who scrap usually just cut the wires. They get wire cutters and go ballistic, just cut the wires. Me, I like to work neat, you know what I mean? I just like to pull the wires out, because sometimes they're brass. And I also, I micro scrap, so if I come with any brass connectors, I usually cut them off and save them. But as you can see, I don't see any brass connectors, so some of these you just pull by hand. And sometimes there's an exception to the rule. Sometimes I don't have my wire cutter, so I use tin snippers. They're just as good. And I'll just cut this off. And when it comes to the ground wire, I'll do the same thing. I'll cut it off. So you're doing it inside in a very cramped area is pretty hard compared when you're outside. When you're outside, you know, it's a lot easier because you got a lot of room to move. And let's go over here, this side. Cut this wire and cut the wires to the motor. And there's that. And I'm going to take these off. Okay. Then I'll start working down here. Cut these zip ties off. And these off. Try to get the light over here. And take these off. Unplug this. Plug this. Cut this off. That. Rip that out. Plug that. All right. And I just take a screwdriver. Push these wires through. Sometimes you gotta do the connectors one at a time to get it through the hole. And one connector. Chain snippers. Put that. There you go. You got all your wires out of the way. Now we can concentrate on removing the motor here. Oh, but I want to take this control panel off. It's got a Phillips heads on there. It's got a circuit board inside. Like I said, I micro scrap, so I'll be taking this board out. So throw that on the side for now. All right, now the tricky part is removing his motor. Sometimes this motor, the motor housing itself, only in by 2 bolts or 4. And once you get the 4 bolts out, you should slide this out. But every unit's different. Okay. Go to the other side. Trying to give you guys a good view. See what I'm doing here. Screws out. Put this out of here. I had a container for the screws. I had a, oh well, I'll leave it here for now. All right, now this should pull out or slide out. While I'm at it, might as well take these off. This capacitor. And this, I would take home. Let me get a light here. The motor here I would take home and disassemble it. Take the motor out. These back ends are cast aluminum, so I would separate the cast aluminum. Then you got the steel, and underneath, of course, you got your copper. You got to check your copper. Use a file. See if the copper's good. If the copper's not good, you throw it with your motor weight. So I'm gonna put that aside for now. And you can start down here. All right. This is another motor right here I like to take off. Let me check something out here. Just wondering why this thing wouldn't pop off. Another screw on here somewhere? Oh yeah, the bottom. Like I said, some heater units is different from others. Usually I only need a It's hard to get in there. All right. And you gotta work in tight spaces sometimes. You gotta get a extender. There you go. Comes in handy. And as you can see, you got your brass, you got your steel, you got your cast aluminum, and you got more copper. More copper inside here. All adds up. All right, now I'm gonna cut that off just to get it out of the way. Now this could be tricky here. All right, I had to tilt this a little bit because there's a screw, a bolt right underneath there, and I didn't want to end up straining my back just to get that, so there you go. Now this most likely cast aluminum, steel, cast aluminum, steel. You got your copper. Like I said, you got to check your copper, take a file to it. If it's comes up shiny, then you throw this in with your motor weight. If it comes up like copper, then what I do is when I get a whole bunch of motors, I mean a lot of motors, I would extract the copper from it. So all right, the only thing left out of this is this thing that might have a little bit of brass on it. Whoa, that scared the hell out of me. Yeah, it's got a little bit of brass on the switch here. So all right. Now, usually I do a total tear down of this just to make it lighter for me when I load this stuff up, but today I'm not going to do that because I'm going to get to the washing machine. I'm going to try to fit this into this video here. So, I'll be back. Alright guys, I'm going to start with the washing machine. I'm going to start with the hoses, get that out of the way. Got a large pair of pliers. Get them loose. And take my drill with the Phillips head attachment. If I was outside, I'd probably do it a different way. Usually I start at the bottom and work my way up, but like I said, I'm limited on space here. I'm surrounded by all metal and everything. Sometimes you got these these little caps on here at the corners. You want to get a screwdriver. I did have a thinner screwdriver around here somewhere. No, I'll just use this for now. A pick set would work better, but all you gotta do is remove these caps here. There we go. And you got a Phillips head. Take that off. And I'll move these screws out of here. Remove that. Then you got more Phillips heads. Oh, there's my container for my screws and stuff. I gotta start putting that in a bucket. I mean, it's like 30 pounds worth of screws in that pot there. And you just lift this out like that. All right. Pull these connectors off. Like I said, most people would just cut them. I mean, it might be faster, but I don't know. It's just like, looks kind of sloppy when somebody does that. I don't know. It's just me. It's just my opinion. Now, this is the only circuit board I still got to figure out. I need to get a special tool to cut some of these out. Like I said, I do micro scrapping, so there's some things I would take off of these, but like I said, that's a whole different video. All right, take this off. Let's get a screwdriver again. It's a piece of aluminum. Let's throw down the forks now. And what we got here? More Phillips heads. Man, it's hard to. I was gonna bring a tripod and set it up, but I don't know how stable it would be on these on this railing here. This railing. So that's why I'm using this flashlight. Try to get as much light as I can in here. All right. All right. Cut these hoses. Pull some wire through here. Head out of here. I think this is let's see. Yeah, I gotta lift that out with a screwdriver. There we go. Now we go back to removing more wires. that. And I need my drill. Now remove this. This is pump here. I'll just take the Phillips heads off for now. Just taking this off just to get rid of the plastic. Sometimes I wish they had a plastic recycling facility. I know they got them in Europe. They have them. I mean, we recycle plastic, but over there you could get paid for recycling your plastic. So I usually save this for my plastic. Alright, where are we? Get this out. I try to get the whole wire and everything all together, but sometimes that's not the case. Let's connect this. And I'll just cut it. I got this here. Cut this ground wire. And there we go. We got more wire. More wire weight for you. So I need my screwdriver again. This contains nope, not this time. Sometimes they got brass connectors on that. Throw my plastic. Throw everything in the bag when I'm done. Now we got to figure out wire. That's why I start at the bottom, because what I do is I disconnect the wires from the motor from underneath, and then I can feed them up and then feed it through here. But like I said, if I was outside I would do that, but I'm not outside, so I have to skip that part and drill out these Phillips screws here. Out of here. Like I said, most scrappers, they would take their wire cutters and cut the wire in half and be done. It just seems to me if I did that, it'd be more to clean up. All right. These are like shock absorbers or struts for the washing machine. Sometimes they're easy. Sometimes they're not. All right. Yeah, I had to put it sideways. Like I said, can't lose that. I already messed up one Phillips head bit. I mean, I went to remove a Phillips head that wouldn't, you know, couldn't be removed unless I drilled it out, and I ended up breaking my Phillips head. In order to remove the drum inside, you gotta disconnect the belt and all that stuff. And the hoses. Alright, all I did was remove 2 screws from under here. And like I said, in order to get the drum out, you gotta remove this belt. And we'll get the light back up here. Gotta remove this hose here. Alright, that means I have to, I don't know. Alright, I'll be back. Alright, sometimes when you're scrapping and you're out in the field and stuff, all you really need is the basic tools and stuff. I mean, you don't have to go get your wrench set just to remove a bolt. Sometimes all you need is these lock pliers or lineman pliers here. Just turn it. Break it loose. From the pulley. Just pull that out. So sometimes I like to save the belt. If it's good, you can sell it on eBay. You never know, somebody's gonna need a belt. As for hoses and stuff, sometimes if you're in a hurry, you could just cut the hoses off. Or just take a pair of pliers and remove it that way. Sometimes I save these clamps, so I'll just take these clamps. You never know when you're gonna need a clamp or something. All right, let me get more light over here. All right, well, I'll just holding this together. Got more screws or something? Shine a light here. Oh, I forgot a screw. Actually, there's 3 now, not 2. Alright. I'm gonna have to crouch down. Gonna have to lift it up a little bit. Got more wires. And we got a connector down here, and you can see it's got brass, so I'll be taking that off. Gonna set that aside for now. Concentrate on these wires here, so let me get everything set up. Alright, let me show you real quick what I did. All these wires are just connected by either bag ties or zip ties, and these pieces of wire here. And then all you have is plastic connectors that are you gotta disconnect. And the only thing I have to do is take this off and this ground wire off. Usually I would have cut it, but since I got the drill with me, I might as well use the drill. I think I end up stripping that. All right. I want to get this drum out, and then I got to change out the battery, so because I have to go this way out to my vehicle. Get my light out of here. Alright, I forgot a connector here. I need my screwdriver. gotta go down, press this down. Alright guys, the only way to disconnect this connector from this connector, which is wrapped in plastic, I don't know if you can see right here, right where my finger is, or I use a screwdriver right here. You got to push down on this and it'll release this connector. So that's what I did. It was a little awkward because I had to hold the drum in one hand and try to disconnect it with the other one. So other than that, here's the wire to the side. Now there's a piece of plastic here I'll take with me when I close out the video. Now we have to concentrate on the motor here. So I want to take my drill and take this off. There's my drill at. Laying on the floor. Oh, I lost my battery. Alright, before I attempt that motor there, I'm going to finish what I started over here and take this off, because if you remember, I stripped the screw. But it's good to have attachments like this. And plus this inside contains copper, not copper wire, but copper, what do you call it, conductors, so to speak. So take this, sometimes I'll just rip it off like that. Now I'll throw that over there for now. Take this off. To the side. Okay. All that's left is the motor and the wires here, which is another connector there. I'm gonna get my screwdriver again. Yank it out. And go underneath. There we go. There we go, more wire there. Add to your wire weight. Alright. Usually I'm able to pull this off. You know, sometimes I can pull this off, or this cap off, and then I can take the belt. But what I'm going to do is get my other tool and take these two bolts and then take the motor off. So I'll be back. Alright, I got this socket set here. It's good to have them. If you got long bolts, say you got long bolts like a banjo bolt or something, like on a what do you call it, a swing set, for example, or a fence, and you got a long bolt, but you need to go through that bolt to get to the nut in order to loosen it up. This is what you want to use. You want to use something like this, and it also has an extender on it. So I mean, you don't have to. I mean, you can always use a basic socket set, but I like carrying this around nails are falling apart. Usually I wear another pair of gloves, but my gloves got wet when I was out trying to metal detect. It was a total bust. So, alright, let me get the other bolt. Have to lift this up. Yeah, it's only hold in by 2 bolts. There we go. So all you do is take the belt off. There's your motor. Like I said before you take the motor, you want to get a nice thin file and file the copper, make sure the copper is good. The only time I would take it apart to check the copper if this was cast aluminum. And this is cast aluminum right here. So is this. There we go. This is cast aluminum. So, alright then. I'll take this belt. Belt any good? Sometimes you can tell a bad belt when it's dried up and it's cracked or it's twisted. And this belt, from what I see, is pretty good shape. So I'll just add it to my collection. Alright, let me get everything straightened up here and cleaned up, and they call it close out this video. So I'll see you guys later. Alright guys, let me go over what I did today to close out this video. What I did was take apart a heater unit and a washing machine. This is the motor with the housing on it still. That came from the heater. There's another motor right here, and it has a piece of cast aluminum connected to it. I still got to check the copper on those, and got to check the copper on this. This is the motor from the washing machine, and you got your circuit boards. These would be called low grade circuit boards because they're non-PC, so there's nothing much to it. Then we got this here. It has copper conductors, and it probably has copper inside, not copper wire, but copper conductors inside. This is the pump, the water pump. As you can see, the copper on here, like I said, you got to check for the copper, and it's got brass connectors on it. So along with these are associated with the pump for the hot and cold. I saved these because I'm just curious what's inside here, so that's why I hold on to that. And then we have this piece here, which has brass on this switch here. I've got a capacitor, which is basically filled with oil and stuff, but I'll just throw it with my shred or my light iron. Then we got this here, the on and off control unit here for the gas. It's got steel, it's got brass connectors, it's got cast iron, or not cast, what do you call it, aluminum, cast aluminum, and this is aluminum, and it's got brass. Like I said, take a magnet and make sure they're actually brass. I know these are brass, sometimes these are not brass, and there is copper inside, so, but they could be a pain in the ass to take apart. And of course, got this belt here, which I already showed you. And we got this piece of plastic. I'm going to crack this open and see if there's any copper inside. So, and this is actually cast aluminum right here. It came from the washing machine motor. And there's a pot full of nuts and bolts and stuff, and screws and springs and all that stuff in there from this is like the last couple of weeks. So it adds weight. I say it's about 20 pounds right there. And of course, I got these rods here from the washing machine, these struts or shock absorbers, whatever you want to call them. I saved these because I cut these. So when I take a motor apart and I need to extract the copper, I use these to bang the copper out. So, but like I said, I'm in the market for a new magnet. Due to the tariff situation, like I said, China controls 90% of the rare earth minerals or metals. So buying a magnet from, because that comes out of China, it's going to cost money. So if anybody knows a magnet company in the United States where I could buy a magnet, let me know. It's got to either be a 360 or anything that's 3,500 pound pull or above. Because believe me, I've been making videos with the little magnets, and it's, you know, I'm way beyond that. So, but and also let me know in the comments if you like to see more videos like this. So, but remember to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. And thanks for watching. I'll see you again.